I am Jimbo Paris, and you are listening to The Jimbo Paris Show.
Hi, how are you? Jimbo, I think you're on mute. You've been on mute since you joined the stream, I think. I wasn't sure.
All right, so Mr. Short just introduced me to the fact that I was on mute, so I'll just do that intro again. Apologies. So, hello, I am Jimbo Paris. Welcome again to the Jimbo Paris Show. I am on, and today I'm going to be interviewing an entrepreneur, host of the Killer Family Business podcast, and he's also the author of What You Need to Know in Order to Have a Family Business book. So, let's bring him on into the show and see what he has to say. Apologies about
Hi,
that.
Jimbo, how are you?
So, let's get started with the first question. What
Sure.
is it that you specifically do?
So I do a lot of things, but what we're here to talk about today about succession planning. So I help family businesses to scale their business through the generations, to be able to put the right person in the right place to help the family business to grow through the generations.
Okay. And why did you start your business? What drives you to pursue this goal that you have?
So for many years, we've been doing personality profiling. We do strategy consulting. We do strategy workshops. We do strategy planning with businesses of all sizes. Well, predominantly kind of 5 million and between 5 and 1 million euro size businesses here in Ireland. But my particular interest is in family businesses because I've grown up in two family businesses. I bought the first family business from my family about 12 years ago now, sold it 2 years ago, right before COVID. But I bought the other business, which I'm currently growing, about 5 years ago now. And that's where one of the arms of what we do in this business now is successful succession, where we help you to build a killer family business without killing your family.
Okay. And what is a family business?
So traditionally, really the term family business only started becoming popular in the last kind of 60 years. Before that, every business traditionally was a family business. So if you think back to all of the early, the grocery stores, the corner shops in the US, any small businesses or farms or anything in Ireland and the rest of Europe, they were all family businesses. You were born into a family and you were working in that family unless you went off to be an accountant or an engineer or something else. So pretty much all businesses were family businesses. It's only really with the Industrial Revolution, when things started to get really big, that there would be corporations where people would buy in and there wouldn't necessarily be a single family or a single unit of family in charge of everything and overseeing everything. So really a family business can be, in this day and age, can be made up of any grouping, I suppose, of people who are either tied by blood or tied by relationship, by marriage or whatever long-term commitments that are working together, that are also sharing their personal life as well as their professional life.
And who works with you?
So we have a team. We have about 6 people here who are working with us. My wife is a primary school teacher, so she has a real job, I suppose. My parents were the ones who founded this business, so I took it over from them. I bought the business from them. And my daughters are a bit young. They're still early teenagers to even see if they're interested in joining the family business. But we have people who've worked with us. And I know a lot of companies who are not family businesses like to say, well, we're like family here with long-term employees. We've 2 of our team have been with us for 26 years for one of them, 24 years for another one, 14 between the 2 businesses with another one. And then the babies of the family are one colleague who's been with us only for 4 years and one colleague who just joined us about 3 months ago.
Okay. And how do you get your work done in this structure?
So I would. So we have the podcast to interview people, to be able to take some of the learnings from the people that have been there and done that, who have gone through the program. Have gone through the process of running a family business, whether they've inherited it, whether they've bought it, whether they've set it up with their siblings or with their spouses or whatever. And then we get people contacting us, looking for more information. So it'll usually start with some kind of a discovery call. I'll have a one-to-one kind of half an hour Zoom call with somebody from Australia, South Africa, Europe, America, wherever, to get an idea of what their particular scenario is. Then if we decide to go down, okay, well, let's do some personality profiling for each of the family members, do feedback sessions with each of the family members so they can see their own strengths, they can see what they bring to the table. We can start to identify some unconscious biases, which is generally what leads to the stresses between the generations. And then we can start looking at some strategic planning, strategic thinking for how the business is going to scale. I'm not a tax advisor. I don't look after any of the tax or the legal side of things because it is different from country to country. So they need to have somebody else for that. Really what I'm there is to try and make sure that the interpersonal relationships are solid.
What do you think are sort of the unique challenges and also benefits of owning a family business in comparison to sort of the typical modern day LLC or corporation?
Yeah. So a lot of family businesses tend to be more, they can be a little bit more fiery inside, and sometimes people who are new to family businesses, if they've worked in the corporate world, they can get a bit shocked by, let's say, a brother and sister in the second generation really screaming at each other, having a real disagreement over something which is maybe not that important, or it is important and they just haven't, instead of going through the passive aggressive kind of, well, as per my previous email and all the rest of it, they actually just let each other have it. And everybody thinks, geez, if I talk to any colleague like that, we'd be in court, we'd be in everything else. Whereas 10 minutes later, the family's over it. They're like, okay, that's fine. We move on to the next thing. What's in it for the business? So the air can get cleared a lot quicker. But so what I said, one of the phrases that I have is, they say that blood is thicker than water, but blood can boil a lot quicker than water given the right circumstances. So family can really push each other's buttons. One of the things that we used to hear all the time when we had the language school, for example, the reason that a lot of our customers and a lot of our clients used to send us repeat business was that they knew that if something happened in the evening, in the middle of the night or something like that, that they would be able to contact us as the family owners and somebody would get up out of bed and go fix the problem, as opposed to a corporation where it's like, oh, well, that's not my responsibility. And the person who's responsible for that is not on until 9 o'clock in the morning. So send an email and they'll deal with it then. So there is that sense of more familiarity, which can be a double-edged sword. As I said, people can lose patience with each other a bit quicker, but also they can have deeper relationships with people beyond the family.
Mm. So what are you passionate about in your business and work?
So we have through the whole business. So we have the succession planning is one part of our business. The other parts, we do interview skills, we do career guidance for individuals, and we do selections for company, where we use personality profiles and natural, verbal, numerical, abstract reasoning aptitudes. So our core focus is fueling aspiration and empowering people and organizations to be able to put the right person in the right place, to have the right career for the right person. So we want to help companies select the right people for the roles that they're trying to fulfill, and we want to help individuals to find the right careers for them. And in succession planning, obviously, that's a huge part of it. Who's the right person to take us through this part? And then do the family business owners, do they actually want to join it? And how can we help them to be the best version of themselves?
Now, speaking of the best version of yourself, this might be somewhat related, but if you weren't working within a family business, what would you be doing instead that you would consider the best version of yourself?
So if I wasn't in the family business, I mean, one of the things that I found about myself whenever I'm doing anything, so I used to do Kung Fu. I used to be very heavily involved. I was a founder of an archery club. I was involved in a lot of individual where it's the onus is really on you to learn to improve yourself. But I always found that my natural tendency was as soon as I learned something, I would turn around and try and teach it to somebody else so as they could learn from what I had learned. So I feel I'm probably a kind of a natural teacher. My leaning is towards if I learn something new, I want to try and have as many people learn, or if I can help those people with that. So I think that's always been a core part of my personality, being around people and wanting to help people to improve themselves.
Do you think that natural teacher aspect of yourself may carry over into that family business aspect? I could see how that could probably make you into a good mentee or father, or I don't even know if you have brothers, but maybe a good older brother figure and so forth, if that makes any sense.
So I do have a sister, and when we were younger, we didn't exactly see eye to eye. We're a lot better now, but she's not involved in the business. She's a social entrepreneur. She works with people from young people from inner city Dublin, and works with them on creativity and teach them how to do film and photography and creativity outlets. But I do a lot of mentoring. I've been a mentee and a mentor. I do a lot of that. I'm involved in a couple of organizations that are all about peer-to-peer learning, peer-to-peer sharing and experiences.
Okay. And hopefully this question isn't a bit too off topic, but where are you from? Because I'm hearing your accent and I'm trying to pick that out.
Yeah, I'm from Dublin in Ireland.
Okay.
I was born in Saudi Arabia. So I was born in I grew up in an American compound in Saudi Arabia. But when I was like 5, we came back to Ireland. So a lot of people think I have a little bit of an American twang, but it's really from the early years of my life when I was in the compounds in the US in Saudi Arabia, surrounded by US people.
Okay. So what do you sort of consider your biggest personal achievement in life?
My biggest personal achievement. I don't know if I really think of my life in terms of my own personal achievements. The first thing, I'm very happily married. I have 2 fantastic teenage daughters that I'm very proud of. I'm very proud of who they're becoming. I'm very proud of what we've built and what we're building in the business that can potentially help millions of people around the world in a new program that we're developing at the moment. I was very proud of what we did and how we made an impact in the language travel industry and that business that we were in before. So there's a lot of things that I'm proud of, they tend to be things that I'm proud of doing together with other people. So I don't really think of myself in terms of this is my personal achievement.
So how would you define success then?
Success for me is being happy in what you do, in doing things that you enjoy doing, that you're good at doing, and that you're able to make an impact in. So if you're good at writing and you enjoy writing, then if you get to spend time writing, you're successful. If you're able to dedicate your time to writing, you're successful. If you are good at research and you like researching and you enjoy the process of reading those heavy academia books, then being a professor and having time to do that research, that's success for you. So I think it's a very personal thing, but to me, it's all about doing something that you're good at and you enjoy doing.
How long did it take for you to find success?
Well, I mean, like all entrepreneurs, we all suffer from this imposter syndrome. So every now and again, when you think like, "Hey, I'm running a good business, or I have a good team of people, or make X amount of profit, or whatever," we think we're brilliant. But there's always that nagging feeling in the back of your head going, "Yeah, I'm a bit of a fraud. I'm kind of chancing it. I don't really have all the answers, but people are looking at me like I have them." So everybody feels that sense of imposter syndrome.
Mm. How did you overcome imposter syndrome?
So I actually found, so I'm in a peer-to-peer networking group. So it's called Entrepreneurs Organization. It's a global network of entrepreneurs around the world. I think it's about 16, 17,000 members, 200 chapters around the world. And we have monthly forums, and it's all about experience sharing and about being able to help each other get through some fairly difficult things in life. So as the 5%, if any of your listeners are entrepreneurs, they should check it out, eonetwork.org. So part of it is spending time in forum, talking about that kind of stuff, being able to speak about it instead of just letting it fester in your mind. And I find a lot of the time when I have issues in life, when I have problems, when I have negative thoughts, and when I have these doubts and niggling doubts, when I talk about it with somebody who's receptive to hear, so my wife or EO or a couple of friends that I can talk to, I find it has less power over me then, because as I'm saying it, some of the things that I've been thinking and telling myself are true. As you start saying them, you realize actually that's not the case at all, but your brain plays tricks on you to make you believe that it's the case.
So you're saying find a power circle. That's a term that I've heard before. A circle that sort of people that can sort of cheer you on and be there for you.
So it's not necessarily cheer you on. It's, I mean, there are times when you actually need people to challenge you. Like if you're coming up with some assumptions, and if you're going down a road with arrogance, it can lead to a fall as well. So it's really a peer network. I like the power circle I get. But it's people who are willing and open and whose genuine interest is to see you succeed, as well as your genuine interest is to see them succeed. It's a peer-to-peer thing. To be able to have those frank and open conversations without any vested interest. The only interest that you have in the other person's success is their success, not that you get a piece of that action or you get a 10% here or you get a kickback later on. So having those networks is really, really important. And really important for personal growth. You have to be interested in personal growth.
So speaking of networks, do you make money for the talk or from the talk?
So a bit of both. So I get paid to speak for the Build Your Killer Family Business Without Killing Your Family. The keynote, I do get paid for those talks. And then I'll get clients to talk to me. I don't really have a program set up as such yet. I'm working on a program called the Next Entrepreneur Academy to help the next generation of entrepreneurs. So that would be like a downstream product. But at the moment, the main revenue that I get for the Killer Family Business stuff is getting paid for the talk.
So how could your business and maybe even your podcast provide guidance to people who are in need of this help from you in starting a family business?
So I mean, I interview people who have. So we launched the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and we've had some really interesting guests already. The first guests that I had on the podcast, I felt had to be my parents as the original family business owners for our own family businesses. So I was learning a little bit about their journey, what made them decide to become entrepreneurs. They were both teachers. Why did they want to take that leap? Why did they travel to Saudi Arabia? I mean, back in the 70s, that was, in the 60s and the 70s, that was, I mean, huge leap of confidence or just daring and adventure or whatever for two Irish people to stop being teachers and go live in Saudi Arabia. I've interviewed a very good friend of mine who bought his wife's family business, which adds interesting dynamic. I had another very good friend of mine who is he's an expert in values, both family values and company values. So we talked about the difference between things that you value and things that are your core values. So how we can identify those things within family businesses. So what I try to get are people who have interesting stories to tell that people can learn from in terms of how they overcame a particular issue or how they have overcome particular complexities within their business. And I also want to talk to experts and thought leaders, people who have done some research in leadership and strategy, not necessarily for family businesses, but how we can apply that then to family businesses. Then when I'm coaching people or when I'm talking to people and talking them through issues, it's about understanding themselves, their personality, understanding the personality of the other people in their family and where there might be buffers on this, and really understanding what the purpose of the business is. Like what's the BHAG, what's the 30-year goal? How can we get us there the best way possible?
Can you explain to us what a psychometric test is?
Sure. Sorry. A psychometric test is basically anything that is to do with the mind, with the psychology of the mind. So it can be an aptitude. So whether you're good at verbal skills, whether you're good at numeracy, abstract reasoning, or your different personality traits, like how you're likely to behave in different scenarios. So anything that measures something like that is called a psychometric assessment because it measures the psychology.
How do you use psychometric tests in your business?
So there's a couple of ways we use psychometrics and personality profiles. So the first one is for career guidance. So when we have somebody who's looking to get some direction in their career, we'll give them an interest inventory, which is a way of assessing what kinds of things they're likely to be interested in, whether they know that they're interested in those things or not. So there's a series of questions, and then they answer yes, like scale it on 0 to 6. Then we have the aptitudes. We have aptitudes for verbal skills, numerical skills, and abstract reasoning skills. Now, if you can subscribe to the there are multiple ways of recording intelligences and multiple intelligences that exist in the world, kinesthetics, dance, everything. But we've found and research has shown that within a typical job and a typical career framing, you can get a 99 or 95% accuracy with just verbal skills, numerical skills, and abstract reasoning skills is to predict how well that person is likely to do in a particular field, depending on their scores. And then we do a personality profile. So we put those three things together for the client. And then we have a conversation. We give them a short list of anywhere between 8 and 12 careers, usually one-to-one, which gives them an idea of where they could take, what they would be good at, what they would be interested in doing, and what direction that they can take for their careers. For companies, then, we do selection. So if you're looking for a C-suite individual and you say, okay, my ideal candidate is this, and you have a list in your job description of your person spec and kind of the roles that you want them to be good at, we can identify then which personality traits they're likely to need in order to do that well. And then we can do a bias-free assessment where we'll run through we'll give them a personality assessment, we give them some aptitude tests, and we can see with no unconscious bias, like anything is removed. We don't know the age, the gender, or anything like that. And we can see this is the ideal person based on what you've said you're looking for. This person is the closest. This person is the second closest. This person is the third closest. The person who's the third closest, they dropped on these two things. So you might actually want to dig into them. Their natural personality might be this, but they might have found ways to overcome that. So it's a great way to start that conversation, to be able to identify the right people for the job. And then for successful succession, we use personality profiles to be able to showcase to people and to be able to identify to people who they are, and then who the other members of their family are really at their core, and then how we can best interact with each other and understand each other.
Can you maybe provide an example or a story on how one of these psychometric tests may have helped you personally, or a client that was looking for your guidance?
I mean, pretty much everybody who comes through us as a service uses psychometric, and they're all. I remember one point. There's 2 points. I was doing consultancy for somebody who they were having some difficulties with one of their managers, and we ran the psychometrics to see what coaching we could do. And I was able to say to them, look, the biggest problem this person is going to have is likely that they're going to be, their natural tendency is to be a micromanager at times of high stress, that they lean into that. And the guy said to me, I can't believe that this test picked that up. That is the biggest problem I have with this person. So we worked on a couple of things. We identified 1 or 2 areas that this manager could be coached to be able to improve their own happiness, their own efficiency and effectiveness in the job. So we were able to use those tools to coach them to understand in themselves, when that happens to them, what their triggers are, how they respond, and then what they can do to help themselves. We get it all the time where I'm giving feedback to a person and they might say, oh, I didn't think I'd be that, but actually my girlfriend and I just had an argument about exactly this problem that you've said, and my personality is likely to cause problems for me in. So people can really see themselves in this, and it's never an attack. It's never you're this person, this is you, and you're a bad person. There's no such thing as a bad personality. You want to talk about, we dismiss things like psychoses or like on the edges and the fringes of the bell curve, but we don't say that you don't have a bad personality. It's just a bad culture fit for where you're working or where you're living at the moment.
So I also heard that you were a keynote speaker. So
Yep.
How did you know personally that you were a speaker at heart, or you truly wanted to be a speaker?
So I suppose I've always liked the idea of sharing my ideas. I've done videos, I do podcasts, interviews, I'll talk to people, and just sharing information and sharing knowledge. And if I learn something, I'm always trying to tell my friends about it, and to the point that they get a bit bored. Oh, Stephen's read a new bloody book and he's now talking about this new stuff. So I'm always trying to help. I was asked, I had this thing of wanting to be a keynote speaker, but really not sure what I would be talking about. Like the last thing that I would ever want to do. And again, this is part of the imposter syndrome, but it's also, I'd hate to feel like I got up on stage for 40 minutes and wasted people's time. Now, I know I'm not going to be able to change the lives of everybody in the audience, but I want to be able to make sure that what I'm talking about for the 20 minutes or 40 minutes or an hour or whatever is adding value to the majority of people in the room. So then I was asked actually to do a talk on succession planning, and because I had done it twice myself, from buying family businesses and selling a family business, I was asked during COVID to give a talk, and that's really where the talk of build a killer family business without killing your family was born. A friend of mine in Tanzania, who was running this international global event with the likes of Gary Vaynerchuk and Seth Godin and a couple of other people whose names I forget right now. So I was speaking on the same at the same event as they were, which was amazing. Got really good feedback, and then I've been doing it since for different organizations around the world, either virtually or in person.
So, with your business right now, what is the current challenge that you are dealing with or working around right now?
Current challenge is our career guidance program. So we have built a program for high school students, which is the series of assessments which we've created, which has the verbal, numerical, abstract reasoning, and an interest inventory. And what we're able to do is, let's say, you're in the US, right, Jimbo?
Yes, sir.
So you get somebody who's in kind of middle school before they go into high school, and they're not really sure what they want to do with for their career. You have career guidance teachers, and you do in the US, you do a lot of tests and assessments, but then the career guidance teacher still has to take all the norms, have a look at the scores, have a look at these, and stay up to date with all of these careers. We have we have a database of 1,269 careers with an ideal makeup for each one of those careers. So we are able to map your individual answers to that database and give you a report as a high school student or a middle school student with 16 careers. And each one of those careers you will be able to do well and you would enjoy doing. And then a description of that career and then how to go about getting into it, what types of courses lead to that, or what kind of other options, whether it's apprenticeships or military or whatever, that lead to those careers. Because then you can start to look, you can reverse engineer what you want to do for the next 40 to 50 years of your life. So we tell people we're not looking at the next 4 to 5 years of your academic career. We're looking at the next 40 to 50 years of your actual career. And then we want to reverse engineer that back to today. What subjects should you be taking? What courses should you be doing? And then what types of jobs should you be applying for when you're finished? So really we've that built at the moment. So the current issue really is trying to get in front of enough teachers to be able to showcase how we can make their life easier and how we can help the lives of hopefully millions of young people around the world.
So how do you inspire others to go above and beyond?
I don't know if I mean, this is the whole thing is like, what is motivation? Can you motivate somebody else? Not really. I mean, I can, if we're talking about my team in the company, all I can do is really share my vision of where we can go, the impact that we can make, and the things that we can do in our business that can actually impact the lives of our customers and impact the lives of the people we're talking about. And if that's something that aligns with the values and aligns with the personality and aligns with the way that my team wants to see themselves being a part of, then brilliant. They are motivated by the outcome. If it's not something, if they're not motivated by that, they're not high on affiliation, for example, which is one of the scales on the personality report. If they're just like, I want to do my job and make widgets, or I want to be more tactile, or I want to be more stuff, you're not for us. Like we're not in the right team then. To motivate others who are not in my team, it's really the same. It's trying to say, well, look, this is what I've done. This is how I've done it. If you're in a similar situation, maybe you can take some of the things that I've learned and have a different outcome, have a better outcome, have a way of improving your world. There was a quote that I heard years ago when I was in a leadership academy in Germany. There was a guy called Warren Rustand, fantastic speaker, fantastic mentor. He had this phrase, which I hadn't heard before, but it really resonated with me, which is lift where you stand. So the idea is you don't work and work and work until you get up the hill and then start making a difference in the world. Wherever you are now, help those around you. Once you've helped the people around you as much as you can, then you take a next step forward on your journey. So lifting where you stand, being able to be able to improve the lives of people around you right now, and grow and grow and grow. And hopefully those people will lift where they stand and everybody can start to grow.
Okay. So what do you think about this concept of rewarding achievement? And for anyone here listening, could you explain to them what that means?
Rewarding achievement?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I'm guessing you're talking about accolades or medals or financial remuneration for doing something that you want, that the employer that you want somebody to do. You say, if you do it, I'll give you X. If you do it better, I'll give you X plus Y. Um, not, I mean, we employ people, we help people, we help companies find people, which can be quite transactional. It's, we want a marketing manager, we want somebody who's going to be able to get our product out there in front of the right demographic or sell X number of our widgets. If you accomplish this, we'll give you a salary of 100 grand. If you manage to get our revenue over 3 million, we'll give you a bonus of 30,000 to try and motivate that person to do a better job, or to be more effective as opposed to do a better job.
Mhm. And what is your opinion on this idea of rewarding success? So maybe to make this easier for you, what is your definition of the difference between achievement and success?
Well, as I said, success for me is doing something that you're interested in and that you're good at. Achievement is if you're setting a goal for anything and accomplishing that goal. So whether that goal be financial, I want to have $1 million in the bank, or I want to have a Ferrari, or I want to pay down my home, or I want to buy a house for my mother, or whatever. Or if it's for other people, an achievement could be, and again, this comes back to your personality and what actually is your motivator. Not everybody's motivated by money. There are a lot of people, and one of the things that COVID has really shown the world is that there are a lot of people who are actually going, you know what? I want to be able to work remotely. I want to be able to travel the world for 6 months and still be working. Like, I'll travel on the weekends, and then I'll be in Paris for a couple of months, and then I'll be in Rome for a couple of months, and then I'll be in Cairo or whatever for a couple of months. So that's an achievement. If somebody says that they want to travel and they are able to find a career that allows them the flexibility to be able to work remotely, I mean, that's an achievement, being able to visit 3 countries a year. For other people, an achievement could be having a family, and could be wanting to be part and build a strong family unit. An achievement could be being part of an organization bigger than yourself, being a curator of your museum, being around these beautiful pieces of art that it has, and you're part of a tradition. So really, it depends on the personality, what they want, what is the motivator for them to see what is their goal, and then achieving that goal is achievement.
So for your family business specifically, would you reward success or would you reward achievement, and why?
Well, we work together towards goals. So, and people have individual goals, and if they achieve those goals, then. But again, we're back to this. So the people who are working with me, I hope, are doing it because they feel successful in the organization, because they're getting to do something that they enjoy doing, and they're good at what they do, all being motivated to accomplish the same thing, the vision of the business, to put the right people in the right careers. And then we have achievement. We have goals that we need to reach. Some of the goals are just, look, this is how much we need to make for the year in order to pay everybody's salary. This is what we think we can make. And if we make that, then everybody shares in that benefit. One of the things that we've always had with our family business, with all the businesses that we've done, is when the family business does well, everybody within the business also does well. So everybody is rewarded for when we're able to reward people for hard work, and for once we are able to achieve those goals.
And what do you do in successful succession?
How do you mean? So successful succession is really the part of the business which is aimed at helping family businesses to be, yeah. So it's aimed at helping family businesses to scale through the generations, to be able to get to be able to put the right person in the right place to achieve success in their family business.
Hmm. Now, let's kind of allude more into your book. What do you need to know in order to have a family business?
Well, as I said, really, family businesses now are any combination of people who spend time outside of the workplace together. So, I mean, you could have brothers that have blood bond. You could have adopted family members who have grown up together or spend a large amount of their time together, growing and have each other's vested interest. Same-sex couples, non-binary families, or whatever, who were all working together and spending time outside, not just team building, like people going to the pub on a Friday after work or going to the bar on a Friday after work. People who spend family time together, who spend social time together, to me would be considered a family, and they also have a business together.
So, why did you write this book?
So as I said, I haven't actually written the book yet. I'm in the process of writing it. I have the outline done. I have most of it. It's based basically on the keynote that I give and the different mindsets. And so the book, I am writing it at the moment to try and help people to understand the process that I came up with of the 5 Ps of successful succession, and how people can use that process to successfully scale their business through the generations. Because I want family businesses to thrive and to succeed. And whether that's a family business that's been around for 5 generations, or if you've just set up a business and you want your kids to, or your family members to join you in that venture.
Okay. So
this is not the book. This is just a white paper. This is just some research that we said of if you're a family business, these are some of the things that you need to know. And we're talking about the 5 Ps of succession and the mindsets that you need in a family business, stuff that I talk about a lot.
Okay. So, can you describe an unforgettable moment in your life where, you fully recognize something about the situation that you were in with your family business? And by situation, I mean maybe the good position you were finally in with your family business, or the high point in your life.
Well, absolutely. So the reason that that succession planning became so prevalent to me and so important to me is just before my second daughter was born, I came home and I'd been arguing on a almost daily basis with my parents about the direction we should be taking with the business, what courses we should be doing, what technology, how we should be marketing, the messaging and everything else. And I wanted to really shake things up, and I wanted to be driving things on. And it got to the point that I came home one night. It was grey and wet, cold, rainy in Dublin. And I sat at the kitchen table and I said out loud for the first time, while I looked at my pregnant wife and my eldest daughter playing on the floor, that I needed to leave the family business, because if I didn't, my grandkids would never see their grandparents, because we would hate each other and we wouldn't be able to be in the same room as each other, because it was really getting that bad. And as soon as I said it out loud, this is what I talk about earlier on about getting those thoughts out of your head. My body viscerally reacted, and I knew that was the last thing I wanted. I did not want to be leaving the family business. I didn't want to be destroying relationships, and I didn't want to leave what I enjoyed doing. So that's when I started this whole process of talking to people, interviewing people that have been there, done that. I mean, I can't have been the first person to have issues with family businesses. And as I discovered, plenty of family businesses have lots of problems. Then we started implementing some of those things. Some of them worked better than others. Some of them were a bit of a waste of time or felt a bit forced. But now, okay, it's 12 years later or 11 years later. Through COVID, my wife and I sold our house, and we renovated my family home where I grew up, where I and my sister, my parents lived, where I grew up. So we have the house separated now. So my parents live downstairs and we live upstairs. The house is fully connected, like there's internal stairs. So The kids go down and do homework. My parents come up for dinner sometimes. The dog goes up and down at dinner time. He knows when we're eating. He knows when they're eating. And we had last year, so we moved in just a year ago now. And on New Year's Eve, we had some friends over, and we took a photograph of me, my family, my parents, my sister, and some friends at the same kitchen table that was in our old house that I nearly left the family business because we couldn't stand each other. And there we are, all living together in the same house, really enjoying each other's company and being able to work well with each other, to share ideas and have them as mentors. So it's been really amazing.
Excellent. And just to kind of wrap this up, if you could give people some advice here, what are some healthy habits people could adopt that may have helped you or motivated you to be productive in your family business?
Well, it's all about knowing who you are, where your strengths are, and where you're adding value to it. I mean, trying to fit yourself as a square peg into a round hole is not going to work. You got to figure out where in the family business the square peg makes most sense if you want to stay in the family business. So understanding yourself, understanding the people around you from in a really profound way, using personality profile or just understanding how people respond to each other, and then being able to see, okay, well, who's the best person or what's the best scenario for us to move this forward. So understanding who you are and then where you want to be.
So are there any final words or pieces of advice you could give to people who are planning on running their family businesses?
I mean, I would say do it. It's an amazing adventure. If it's something that you want to do, if there's a part of the business that you really feel that brings you joy, that you think you'll be good at and you'll enjoy doing it, go for it. It can be scary, it can be daunting, but go for it. And there's like the three mindsets are to help people to become the mentor of the next generation. So to go from hero, your story, to the mentor of the next generation story. Because there is a deep need for an understanding of what got the current generation here is not going to get the next generation there. So there's different thinking, different strengths, different mindsets that are going to happen and need to happen. And then the next generation has to have internal and external development. So they need to learn about the real world. They need to go out and get some experience or some training elsewhere. And then they need to come in as low as possible in the family business and work their way up and earn their chops.
Okay. So are there any ways people could reach you out or get to know you more? Or
yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you showed my website there. So successfulsuccession.com will get me. There's links on there to go onto my Calendly, book a call, book a discovery call, have a quick Zoom call, email if there's anything I can do. The podcast is there. The blog is there. And I'm planning in the new year to shoot a couple of videos of, again, just tutorial videos talking about some of the stuff that I've learned, to share my ideas. And all the information is there, and my LinkedIn is there on successfulsuccession.com/Stephen. So you had the page there. So love to hear from you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Shortt. This really has been a privilege for you to be on the show. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. I definitely learned a lot about family businesses and the culture that works along them.
My pleasure. Thanks a million for having me.
No problem. So just to end this off here, everyone, just a few quick shout outs. The first thing I would like to mention is LifeWork Systems. This is our affiliate partner. She is basically an HR superstar. She works in large corporate businesses and helps to improve their HR infrastructure, their relationships, and so forth, making the business a better collegial environment overall. The next thing I would like to mention is our YouTube channel. Please subscribe now. We finally hit that 100 subscriber mark. So keep on ringing that bell, keep on subscribing. It'll only make your job easier in finding more great podcasts with more great episodes like this one here. And then the next thing I'd like to mention is our Roku channel. Subscribe down there now to get exclusive updates on live shows, which you may not be getting on the YouTube channel. So if you want access to that, get a Roku box, not just for this show, but for other things as well. So you could enjoy that too. And then our final thing we're offering here is Jimbo Paris Services. We're a service providing business. If you want marketing being run, SEOs run, okay, KPIs, those sorts of things. We've already worked with a few reputable corporate businesses. We would love to help your business out too to get amazing results as well. All right. I am Jimbo Paris, and this is the Jimbo Paris Show.
Thank you for listening to the Jimbo Paris Show.